Hey everyone, just going to be shooting a video talking about projection and what to do when your baby does a poo while you're shooting live video. If you think that sounds interesting, definitely watch this video. Okay, so the thing about my baby, yesterday I did a long shoot on projection, and it was pretty good. But the thing was, I was babysitting my little 3-month-old, and I was kind of looking down at her while I was shooting the video, and she was just smiling up at me. But then when I played it back, I realized that I hadn't heard it. She was filling up her nappy as I was talking shit, and so I couldn't really use it, although that may have been quite a funny video. So I'm shooting this one again, projection. So I'm just gonna, it's really my thoughts on projection. Maybe I'm just doing it for myself. I hope you find it interesting. Just finished The Last Dance, which was the Michael Jordan movie, looking at his final season, and it was a fantastic documentary. What I found interesting looking at comments on Twitter was that people projected their own stuff onto him, and that's what happens with celebrities or politicians or whatever. When someone's put on a pedestal, you project your shadow onto them. So I saw some people writing things like, oh, he's so petty, oh, he's so, really negative things that they were projecting onto Michael Jordan. And that's like just a big sign saying that's something you haven't seen in yourself, because otherwise you wouldn't say it. There could be some truth to it, but if that's the main thing that you're picking out of what he did, I mean, that's pretty petty. So when I finished the documentary last night, and I just couldn't help but think how much he knew himself, how much he valued himself, but really how much he was sure of himself, how much he knew himself. When I mean by how much he knew himself is he knew that he could leverage his hyper competitiveness and make things up about, oh yeah, that person said this thing about me, to take his game to the next level. And that's how, he knew he was ultra competitive, and maybe to the extreme, right? But his performances were extreme, and there's always a negative downside to that. So I found that very interesting. Another interesting thing is things never happen on their own. Pockets happen, like things come together. I've got a bird that's just flown in and is kind of warning everyone about me, I think. It's just above me. By the way, scorchio here in Mexico today. Absolutely sweltering. I was doing my yoga down right where I'm standing on the balcony this morning, and my meditation. Meditation I did 30 minutes. I was just pouring with sweat, and then meditation, then to yoga, which I was using as meditation and to open up my body. It was Bikram yoga in Mexico. I was sweating. I'm now sweating now. So I was just talking about things coming together. So with Michael Jordan, his self-value and knowing himself, and that was something like that's something I took from the final episode, and that's something that I've been working on in myself. And I work with other therapists sometimes to break things inside of me that I can't find, that I can't get to. And I just worked yesterday on something, and that came up as an issue. So, or not as an issue, as something that, like a deep belief system, that then was cleared or neutralized or resolved. So had all of these things coming together, and that's and I've said it before, you'll usually find that you have like a breakthrough in your body at the same time. Long time ago I talked about, I was doing a hypnotherapy session. I was having hypnotherapy done on something, and then when I left the office where I had it in Barcelona, my right hip, I think it was, my hip flexor was completely loosened off, and I walked down the street all like weird. I couldn't walk properly because it loosened off so much. So the our emotional traumas and our emotional binds are experienced in our body, and anyone who says differently just doesn't understand the body. So just coming back to the projection, is we project the good and the bad that we're not seeing in our own shadow. So I did some work a while back on Donald Trump, because there were things about him he triggered me. So what I did was I looked at those things that triggered me, and then I saw where the good was in them, and where I needed it to balance me out. So one of the things I remember with Donald Trump is he said what the fuck he wanted. He just said, he doesn't really think, he just says whatever he wants. And that was something that I wasn't doing. I wasn't saying whatever I wanted. I was like, ooh, I wonder what people would think. Well, that's just the opposite. It's Donald Trump. So he was my spiritual teacher in that. So now I'm just more neutral. I just see him for what he is and what most people are. There's no triggers there. And so when you see something in someone else you don't like, it really triggers you. That's some gold for you to go digging in your own garden, in your own internal garden. And also you can see things you admire in others. So you put people in a pit, there's reasons why you're doing it. You're not seeing the same behavior in you. And you put people on a pedestal, it's the things you're not seeing that you have within you. So that's also good. Like if I admire someone, what is it do I admire about them? Or I admire that. And if it's a really strong admiration, you're like, oh, I wish I could be like that. You know that you're just not seeing it in yourself. So it's kind of like a positive and negative projection, but both are super important for finding more, understanding yourself more, knowing yourself, yeah? Which is really what we're here for, is just to resolve things and find ourselves. Okay, I'm absolutely soaking wet now. So I'm going to have to go and have another shower before I start my clinic. Funny, just the thing that popped into my head was, quite a few people want to be location independent now and work from wherever. And so I can work from wherever, which is great. But there's downsides with everything, as you know. So one of them is you don't have your own office. So I'm now on the balcony filming, and I can't make too much noise because my little baby girl's sleeping. So you kind of sometimes you don't have your own space, which is, maybe if I was at home, I'd have my own office. And another thing which is kind of funny for me is when you can go anywhere in the world, there's so much choice, you don't know what to do. Most people make decisions on where they live based on, either the job or the family. But when you can go anywhere, it's actually paralyzing, because you go, oh, I go there and go there. And because your mind is always saying, well, that's good, but what about there? The mind limits us, and it's always comparing. And when you're on a desert island and you go, oh my God, this is paradise, very quickly you start saying, oh, I wish I was in London or in a city because this is boring. So the mind is where the limitations always. So you really want to be independent, location independent from your mind. All right, I'll leave it on that. Hope you guys are good. Or I said I'd stop saying guys. Hope you are well. And if you have any comments or anything underneath, I'd love to hear from you. If you like the video, press the like button and subscribe. That would be great. Thank you so much. Have a great day.